Joseph was a special young man, unique in many ways. He was loved dearly by his father Jacob, who saw something extraordinary in him. Jacob showed his favoritism openly. Much to the dismay of Joseph's brothers, he gave Joseph a beautiful, multicolored coat, a symbol of his special affection. This act of love made Joseph's brothers incredibly jealous and envious. They already felt overshadowed by Joseph's dreams and his father's clear preference. In these dreams, Joseph saw himself ruling over his family, which only fueled the brothers' resentment. Joseph was a dreamer, a visionary. He believed in his heart that his dreams would come true, no matter how impossible they seemed. This unwavering confidence irritated his brothers to no end. They saw him as arrogant and naive, unable to understand his deep faith. What they didn't understand was Joseph's deep faith and trust in a higher plan. He trusted in God's plan for his life, believing that everything happened for a reason. Despite the tension and jealousy, Joseph remained kind and compassionate. He never boasted or looked down on his brothers, always treating them with respect. He carried himself with grace and humility, never letting his dreams make him arrogant. He believed that one day they would all understand his dreams and his faith. He held on to the hope that love and unity would prevail, bringing his family together in harmony. The brothers' jealousy festered. It poisoned their hearts, turning their love for their sibling into a burning hatred. They plotted to get rid of Joseph, their father's favorite, whose dreams of greatness only fueled their envy. One day they saw their opportunity. Joseph was approaching, unaware of the danger that awaited him. Joseph was sent by his father to check on his brothers, to see if all was well with them and the flocks. They were tending sheep in a distant field, far from the watchful eyes of their father. As Joseph approached, his brothers seized him with a force that betrayed their malicious intent. They tore off his precious coat, the symbol of their father's favoritism and the source of their resentment. They threw him into a deep, dark pit, a place where no light could reach, hoping to rid themselves of him forever. They left him there to die, his cries echoing in the emptiness, unheard and unheeded. They ignored his cries for mercy, their hearts hardened by jealousy and hatred. They had succumbed to the darkness within, their souls tainted by their vile actions. The brothers then sat down to eat, their appetite unaffected by their heinous deed. As they ate, a caravan approached, its merchants traveling the trade routes to distant lands. The brothers saw a chance to profit from their evil deed, their greed overtaking any remaining sense of guilt. They decided to sell Joseph into slavery, exchanging their brother for silver, sealing his fate. The merchants were heading to Egypt, a land of great wealth and opportunity, but also of bondage and suffering. And so Joseph began his long and arduous journey into the unknown, his future uncertain, his dreams seemingly shattered. Joseph's world was shattered. He was ripped from his family. He was sold to strangers. He was taken to a foreign land. Everything he knew and loved was gone. Yet, even in his despair, Joseph clung to hope. The journey to Egypt was long and harsh. Joseph endured the scorching sun and the biting cold. He suffered hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. Yet, he never gave up. He knew that somewhere, somehow, God was with him. Upon arriving in Egypt, Joseph was sold again. This time he was purchased by Potiphar. Potiphar was a high-ranking official in Pharaoh's court. Joseph found himself in a position of servitude once more, but he was determined to make the best of his situation. Despite his circumstances, Joseph remained diligent and trustworthy. He served Potiphar faithfully. He managed Potiphar's household with wisdom and efficiency. Joseph's natural leadership qualities shone through. Soon Potiphar recognized Joseph's worth. Potiphar entrusted Joseph with more and more responsibility. Joseph excelled in everything he did. He was honest, hard-working, and intelligent. He brought order and prosperity to Potiphar's household. He was a model servant, respected by all. Joseph's faith never wavered. He believed that God had a plan for him, even in this foreign land. He prayed daily, seeking guidance and strength. He found solace in his relationship with God. His faith was his constant companion. Falsely accused. Potiphar's wife noticed Joseph's handsome features and charming demeanor. She was drawn to him. She tried to seduce him, but Joseph refused her advances. He knew it was wrong. He remained faithful to God and to Potiphar. Enraged by Joseph's rejection, Potiphar's wife accused him of assault. She lied to her husband, claiming that Joseph had tried to take advantage of her. Potiphar, blinded by anger and deceived by his wife, believed her lies. Joseph was thrown into prison. He was innocent, yet he found himself trapped in a dark and hopeless place. His spirit was crushed. He had been betrayed, falsely accused, and unjustly imprisoned. A prisoner of hope. Prison life was harsh. The darkness was suffocating. The chains were heavy. Joseph faced despair and loneliness. Yet even in the depths of his suffering, his faith did not die. He knew that God was with him, even in this terrible place. Joseph's spirit of kindness and humility remained. He befriended his fellow prisoners. He listened to their stories. He offered words of encouragement. He became known for his wisdom and compassion. One day, two of Pharaoh's officials were imprisoned alongside Joseph. One was the cupbearer, and the other was the baker. Both had offended Pharaoh. They were distraught and uncertain of their fate. Interpreting dreams. The cupbearer and the baker each had vivid dreams. They were troubled by the meaning of their dreams. Joseph, seeing their distress, offered to interpret their dreams. He listened carefully as they described their dreams in detail. Joseph, guided by God, revealed the meaning of their dreams. He told the cupbearer that he would be restored to his position in 3 days. He told the baker that he would be executed in 3 days. Joseph's interpretations proved to be accurate. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him when he was restored to his position. He hoped that the cupbearer would tell Pharaoh about him. He believed that God could use this experience to deliver him from prison. 2 years passed. Pharaoh had a series of disturbing dreams. No one in his court could interpret them. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph. He told Pharaoh about Joseph's ability to interpret dreams. Pharaoh summoned Joseph. Joseph, brought hastily from prison, stood before Pharaoh. Pharaoh described his dreams. Joseph, filled with God's wisdom, interpreted them. He said that the dreams foretold 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh was impressed by Joseph's wisdom and insight. He recognized Joseph's leadership qualities. He knew that Egypt needed someone like Joseph to navigate the coming crisis. Pharaoh made a bold decision. He appointed Joseph as his second in command. Joseph, guided by God, implemented a plan to store grain during the years of plenty. When the famine struck, Egypt was prepared. The famine spread beyond Egypt's borders. It reached Joseph's homeland, Canaan. Jacob, Joseph's father, sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain. They arrived at Joseph's palace, unaware of his true identity. Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. He tested their character, observing their remorse for their past actions. Joseph longed to see his father again. He devised a plan to bring his entire family to Egypt. He revealed his true identity to his brothers. The reunion was filled with tears, forgiveness, and overwhelming joy. Joseph's brothers were terrified. They feared his retribution, knowing the gravity of their betrayal. They had betrayed him in the most heinous way, selling him into slavery out of jealousy and spite. But Joseph's heart was filled with forgiveness. He had risen above the pain and suffering they had caused him. He had no desire for revenge. Instead, he chose to let go of the past and embrace a future of reconciliation. He embraced them with love and compassion, showing them that his heart was free of bitterness. "Do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here," Joseph reassured them, his voice calm and soothing, "because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." He saw a greater purpose in his suffering. Joseph understood that God had a plan. He realized that his journey, though painful, was part of a divine design. He saw that even in their betrayal, God's hand was at work, guiding events towards a greater good. Joseph brought his father and his entire family to Egypt, ensuring they would be safe from the famine. He provided them with land and sustenance, giving them a new lease on life. He ensured their safety and well-being, acting as their protector and provider. He demonstrated the true meaning of forgiveness, showing that love and compassion can heal even the deepest wounds. He broke the cycle of hatred and replaced it with love, creating a legacy of peace and unity for future generations. Joseph's life is a testament to the power of faith, forgiveness, and resilience. He endured unimaginable hardships, but he never lost sight of God. He emerged from the depths of despair to achieve greatness. He left behind a legacy of hope and reconciliation. Joseph's story teaches us that even in the darkest of times, God is with us. It shows us that forgiveness is possible, even when it seems impossible. It reminds us that God can use even the most painful experiences for good. Joseph's journey from betrayal to triumph is an inspiration to us all. It encourages us to face our own challenges with faith and determination. It reminds us that no matter what we face, God is with us, guiding us towards our own triumphs.